Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bravado Talk.
Hello, everyone. My name is Antonio Amado. I'm going to be one of your co-hosts.
And I am your other co-host, Eduardo Bravo, also known as Eddie.
How you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing pretty fantastic, bro. How are you?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. We just had a nice meal.
Oh, we did.
Well, what did we have again? What's it called?
We had Buffalo Spot.
Buffalo Spot?
Yeah.
Never heard of this spot before.
What'd you think?
It was good.
It was good?
It was good, yeah. I'll definitely go again.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go ahead and say, first of all, thank you for clicking and tuning in with us today.
Yep.
As we are to embark our journey of episode 1, the pilot of Bravado Talk.
Yep.
And this is just a little ongoing project that we've been talking about, and we have finally manifested it with me and Anthony. Is just about having a podcast of two best friends talking about each other's personal experiences and what we've gone through from, ups and downs, because I think nobody's ever perfect, right?
Yep.
So it's just going to be a plethora of stuff here that we're going to talk about. It's going to be some how do I want to say it? Some first person, some third person. You just never know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
But overall, I am Eduardo Bravo. I come from, born and raised in South Central LA. I am the youngest of 6, and pretty much about what this episode, a little breakdown is. We're going to talk about today about college and what it is to embark into that path to college.
Yeah, we kind of want to just touch on our beginnings and how we got to college, how our path, like how the things that we encountered along the ways, and just kind of how our experience was from the very beginning. Yeah,
from the very beginning. Like I mentioned, I was born and raised in South Central LA, so I went to this high school, Locke High School, and the corner of 111th and San Pedro. I was kind of a late bloomer, man, to be honest with you. I actually didn't start caring about what I was going to do until 9th or 10th grade.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know, man, honestly. And if it wasn't for my counselor, shout out to Ms. Zen. If it wasn't for her, man, honestly, I don't know where I'd be.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. This is why we want to be in this platform. We want to be able to talk to people in a way that we can help them out, I guess. The way I see it is, I want an audience to listen to this and to kind of, listen to us and have us as a kind of influence or you know what I mean? Like people could learn through our experience and learn through our mistakes, and maybe learn a thing here and there that they might have not known. And this is why another reason why we want to have this podcast, so that we didn't have anyone. I mean, at least in my part, I didn't have anybody to tell me these things. So I think this is a good way to talk to others and have them have us a certain knowledge.
Our viewers, yes.
Yeah, or an idea of what they're gonna go through in life, sometime in the future.
Right. Yeah, definitely 100%. And it's always that one role model that pushes you, that makes you or sees in you that you can accomplish a lot in life. And man, she was amazing, man. From sharing her personal experiences about college. And it just made me want to do it, man. I mean, for me, it was kind of more of a situation of either I join the military or I go to college. And so it wasn't until my 10th grade where I did have that talk with my counselor, and she saw potential in me, honestly. And she just helped me through applying to college, taking me on college tours with like the rest of my school group. And it was just, man, like, props to her. I have to thank her still to this day. But what about you, man?
Yeah, it was like the same for me. you know, I again, I come from Mexico, Mexico. I was there for 8 years, so obviously, you know, I was there from until fifth grade, I think. I started here fifth grade, yeah. And the school system is a lot different here. I remember back then we used to, like, every time the teacher would go to, you know, the bathroom, we would just mess around and everything, and it was just pure chaos. All of my homework was nothing but X's. They used to put X's over there, and yeah, dude, I was pretty much flunking pretty much my entire life until I got here, and here was a lot different. Right away, you can tell the teachers cared. They would care more about the students. Even though I didn't understand the language at the beginning, I was still, you know, they still helped me. I was in a program where they were teaching me how to speak English and things like that.
But when you first came here, that transition, how did that affect you? Did it give you more motivation to, like, kind of like adapt? Or
that's a good question. Well, I feel like it was at the beginning. It was the same, just because again, it was just school. It was whatever. But I guess in a way, seeing the teachers that they actually cared for you to learn and things like that. I think that's where I started, you know, getting motivated, you know.
Okay.
I started actually doing my homework. I wanted to learn, pretty much, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, definitely. Again, the school system was just completely different here, and it changed. Okay. Yeah, it changed the way I view things. I mean, I could tell you right now, I don't even remember taking a test in Mexico. I don't remember. Dude, I don't even remember. I don't even know how I did it. But when I came here, it was just test after test, and then it was here where I had my first teacher. She was my math teacher, and you know, she saw how I was kind of gifted, or you know, I learned better.
And this was in high school?
No, this is still elementary school.
Elementary school, okay.
Yeah, and so she was the one who pretty much told me, like, oh, you know, you're really smart. You could be an engineer, things like that. So she really, from the very beginning, planted that idea in my head, right? But you know, I went on to go to middle school, high school, and again, it was kind of like how you said, I was someone that didn't know anything about the college journey up until you know, sophomore, junior year, when all of my friends started talking about it. You know, they were like, oh, well, what school are you gonna go to? What college are you going to? And I didn't even know, right? So then that's when I started actually researching, doing my research, looking up schools. I didn't even know the UCs existed until my sophomore year, you know. So you know, it was hard. It was hard at the beginning, 'cause not having someone to talk to, you know, older than me that went through that.
Oh yeah,
that whole experience, you know. So, so, it was hard at the beginning, but you know, towards the end, I think, you know, I made the right choice. I learned about Cal Poly through one of my friends. I used to be in cross country, and he was a senior when I was a freshman. When he graduated, I can't remember if it was him or someone told me that he went to Cal Poly. So I was like, oh well, that's one I know. Like, I'll just apply there, and I ended up getting in there as a civil engineer. And yep.
Did you ever apply to any other colleges, or was it just Cal
Poly? Yeah. I applied to a couple of UCs, but you know, that one made more sense. It's one of the best engineering schools, I think. Okay. And it was cheaper. You know, I don't have a lot of money, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, UCs.
So it was definitely pricey. Yeah, it was a no-brainer, bro. So, but yeah, that's how I ended up at Cal Poly.
Cal Poly. Yeah, man, and just going back to a little bit about me, you know, the transition for me was that Cal Poly was one of the last schools that I ever heard from. And I was getting kind of anxious because I didn't hear a response, so I didn't know if it was because of my grades or anything. But I was kind of confident, man. And you know, it's like 2 weeks before graduation, and I just see an email, and it's all I saw was congratulations. And as soon as I read that,
yeah, that's a good feeling. Like, it's a good feeling.
Because man, it's like all that work that you put into. It's like,
dude, let me tell you real quick. So, when I was getting accepted, or when I was applying right to colleges, you know, I got a card from Cal Poly, and the card,
like a card, like
a letter.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
a letter.
okay.
A letter saying,
Uh-huh.
they were pretty much saying like you've been put on you were recommended to the dean or whatever, on the dean's,
Dean's
whatever.
list or whatever.
Yeah, the dean's list. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That didn't mean I got accepted. They were just saying they were recommended me, right?
Uh-huh.
So my dumbass told my parents, "Oh, I made it to Cal Poly." So my dad bought me a shirt, bought me everything, Cal Poly gear and everything. Until I read the letter again, I was like, "Oh crap, I don't think I'm accepted."
It was more of a recommendation.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a hey, you're in.
Yep. So I was like, "Ah, shit. How am I gonna tell my parents this?" But then, like, maybe like a week or two, the letter came saying like, "Congrats, like you made it." So I was like, "Oh."
You just kept on with the
dude,
flow.
I know. I was like, "Shit, damn it." But anyways, go on. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
Just a funny story.
Good, man. Yeah, it is. And man, but come to think about it, Cal Poly did lag, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For did? Yeah.
Yeah, it did for me because I was like, hey, bro, UCLA said yes. I mean, not UCLA, CSU. CSULA said yes.
I was like, damn.
LA said yes. Dominguez Hill said yes. I'm like, where are you, Cal Poly?
No, they hit me pretty early for me. They hit me up pretty early.
Yeah, but not me, man. I mean, it just took a while. I mean, it makes me think that I kind of applied late because you know how they do it, where it's like if you apply the sooner the better, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it wasn't that case for me, and so.
Well, what's your last name, Bravo? Oh wait, no, that doesn't make sense either.
No, it doesn't.
No. Oh well. I mean,
it's my application number. Remember.
Dude, I forgot everything about that, but.
I have a good memory. I guess that's what it is. But man, 2 weeks before graduation, I got that acceptance, and
oh shit,
I was
that
just
late?
Happy. Yeah. Dude,
oh damn, that is late.
It was really late.
Oh damn, that's tough.
And so it was just like a nail biter, and that was the only school I wanted to go to. I was like either Cal Poly or the Navy, and so it was just my destiny, if you will, as cliche as that sounds. Graduation happened, and then I get my orientation packet and everything, and they're like, you have to report to orientation. But from being accepted, I guess I was like one of the last orientations that ever happened. And so, where they make you stay like 3 days and 2 nights, like that college feeling.
I don't think they're doing that anymore, by the way.
Really?
I think they're doing one night.
Because of the coronavirus?
No. This was before that. But I think they just did one night. I think.
Maybe because they have a bigger gap now for like college students.
I think so.
But yeah, man, I remember I was like so excited. My mom was dropping me off, and I stayed at Montecito, all the way in the it's not in the back, but it's kind of in the middle of everything. And so it was just so surreal. I don't know if you felt that.
Dude, yeah, it was different. Like way different.
When they drop you off and. I don't know if you've seen Monsters University.
I saw,
but it's like Mike Wazowski, like, oh, what do I do now? It was, excuse me.
Oh, man.
Sorry. Anyways, trying to go off a little bit off here, but
yeah, it was weird.
It was just so surreal, man.
Yeah,
honestly, really I couldn't believe it. So I have my bag on my left hand, like my suitcase, and then I have my packet, and then I was running kind of late that day. So I just dropped my bags, and I didn't have a roommate at the time. So I was like, it kind of sucks, because you want to get that college experience.
Oh, you didn't?
Hold on. And it wasn't until we took off to do events and stuff like that to learn about the campus. And it was later on that night where everybody called it a night, like around 8 p.m. And I met my roommate. And it was just a pretty dope experience, honestly. His name was Alex Preciado. To call him AP, and man, we were just so excited. We didn't know what was going on, honestly, but it was just one of those things again where it's just like a memory that you have, and you wish you can just like live that same memory, but you just have to appreciate the time that you're there.
Damn, dude, my experience was a lot different.
Really?
So for me, you know how you were saying that your whole process probably put you at the end of the orientation. I applied last minute. I called them. I was like, "Oh, there's no more room." I was like, "What do we do?" They were like, "Don't worry about it. We'll probably find you." a spot. Next thing you know, I was like I think that was the first week that I went in for orientation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, dude, I didn't know anybody. Um, it was cool. Like you said, it was cool. Meeting new people, being on your own for like those 2 nights. Um, but my roommate was not. He wasn't. I mean, I don't even know his name. I don't think I even met him like that well. Um, he was this dude, and I think I came in the room because the people that were in my group for my orientation, we went out and we were just going out, walking, things like that. I think did we have a curfew? I think they called it.
I think
we had a
did, but
curfew,
it was
right?
like around 11.
No,
10.
earlier, I think.
Then again, it was mine.
Yeah, dude, mine. Seriously. They told us to go back to our room, and I got in there. The guy was there. He was just like, dude, the lights were already off. Uh-huh. Like, this fool didn't even wait for me. He was just like, oh, I'm done. Like, I'm just going to sleep. So I just go in. The guy's already sleeping and get in my bed, and that's it. And that was about it. You guys
had zero conversation.
Nothing at all. Nothing.
Wow.
The guy literally just got to his room, just went straight to bed. I think he took a shower and went straight to bed. I was like, all right, whatever. But it was cool. I think it was just a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Besides all that, it was like you said, surreal. It was cool. It was just cool being away from home and being in a different environment. Where you have to like pretty much take care of yourself for those 2 nights.
2 nights and 3 days.
Yeah.
Man, but those orientation presentations were just
all
at the BSC.
At the BSC, yeah.
Man,
boring.
A good 5 hours.
Boring. I didn't hear anything.
Dude, me
I didn't hear anything.
I only got the police campus number, and I was just like, all right, I'm cool.
I think the only thing I remember was touring the brick, because I was like,
because it was one of the new buildings.
The new ones. I was like, okay, I'm definitely coming here.
And for those listeners that don't know, the brick is it's called the Bronco Recreation Intercomplex.
No,
Intramural complex.
Yeah,
there you go. So it's basically like a big glorified gymnasium in Cal Poly, and it was under construction in 2014 when we both embarked our college journey.
Tallest rock climbing wall.
Oh yes,
from all Cal states.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, orientation is over with. We all pack our bags and we made friends with who we made friends that day or that weekend, and it's the first day of school.
Mm-hmm.
And
were you living in the dorms?
No, year? So not yet. So let me go a little bit back, just by orientation. I was presented this group called Hermanos Unidos.
Mm-hmm.
And for listeners that don't know what Hermanos Unidos is, it's a nonprofit organization that helps Latino, but not only Latino students, because they are an open door policy. Any race, any gender it is, and we just tend to strive and help each other what it is. And I learned that org because not only my brother was a founder back in 2001, but my brother-in-law was also in it too in 2010. And so it wasn't that my brother got in contact with the board during that time, and they hit me up and they were like, hey, so we heard you're in orientation and we're doing a table event, like you should come through. And I was hesitant, I
mm-hmm.
I shouldn't go, but something in me just struck, and I went, and that's where I met Fernie, John Mendez, Julian Herrera, and Adrian. And so, John was one of the first people that I talked to, and he was just like, bro, trust me. I'm not even saying this just because I'm in the org, but if you join, bro, you'll never regret it. It's a big mistake if you miss out. And so I was just talking to him, and I got in contact with him, and they invited me to an event prior, like a week before school started. They had this brown bagging event where we feed immigrant workers lunches, like a sandwich and like a pamphlet of resources that they can use for free. And so at the time I was talking to Julian, and I was in a kind of like a crisis where I didn't know where I was gonna stay for my college year. So there was no more room in dorms or suites. So I was like, dude, I honestly have to commute. And at the time I didn't have a car and I didn't know how to drive. And so Julian was just like, well, dude, we're getting a house and we actually need one more person. Let me know. Well, let me just talk to the whole group and then I'll add you. And I was like, oh, for sure. Like at that point, I didn't care who I was living with. I just needed a place to sleep, honestly. So he pulls some strings. He calls me that same day later on, and he's like, so I added you to the list, and you're gonna be sharing a room with Gerardo. And shout out to my roommate Gerardo. Um, I was just like, okay, that's good, you know. All I heard was 290 rent, utilities included. I was like, dude, I'm in.
290. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
that was good.
And so I told my parents. My parents were like, "Oh, well, that's good, you know," because I was looking for an ad in Craigslist, but it was in Walnut, and then I think rent was like 600 plus utilities, and I was like, ah, nah. So I ended up going my freshman year, first day of school. I didn't have a ride to go to school, but I just Googled the bus route, the Foothill Transit, and I start packing my bags and I start heading out the door. And it wasn't until one of my housemates was just like, oh, dude, like, don't worry. Like, I got you on the ride. I was like, oh, dude, you sure? You're like, yeah, I'm going to campus anyways. It's not like it's out of my way. And shout out to Nabor. Nabor took me. He took me to school. And it was just that first day that just felt so surreal. You know, you don't have people telling you, hey, go to class, go to class. Mm-hmm. It was just more kind of on your own. And yeah, man, that was just the beginning for me, my college journey. What about yours?
How did you start? Well, the weekend or whatever. Oh no, was it a Thursday or Wednesday, or where we have to all go to our rooms and everything. Well, first of all, we only had one car back then, right? No, sorry, we had two. We had two cars. So obviously I took one. My parents, they kept the other one. So I went on my own. You know, nobody dropped me off or anything. So I went over to you know, the parking lot where, you know, you have to get this cart. Oh, well, you didn't. Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't live there. So anyways, they had me put my stuff in a cart, right? And you know, just take it to your car, bring it back, and you're done, right? So obviously nobody dropped me off. All I see is a bunch of parents like dropping off their kids. I was alone, so I was like, dude, how am I gonna do this? So what I did was I parked all the way where the parking structure is. I parked all over there, went up the hill, all up the hill to Palmitas, right? Grabbed the car, went back to my car, put all my stuff in there, and I went back. And dude, I had to hurry because they were giving me like a deadline or whatever, or a time where I had to put everything in the building before they kicked me out or something like that.
Okay.
So I was rushing, dude. I was like running. I had my new kicks, my new kicks on, and dude, like that first day, like I wasn't planning on running, and I was running my ass off, going back and forth. I was like sweating and everything, and yeah, I put all my stuff. I met my roommate, and then I think that same night, I went back home. I drove back home because I used to be in a soccer team, and we had a game that night. So
was it like a Sunday league?
Yeah, well, it was on a Thursday.
Oh, Thursday.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't. It's not a like. I don't remember, but I had a soccer game that day. Mm-hmm. So I went back, and then I finished the game. I come back to school, and I had a couple of more things to take out of my car. Bro, my dumbass got the stuff out of the car, locked the car, and I left my keys inside.
Oh my!
Dude, so I had to call someone to come help me, and it was just a terrible day. Terrible first day. Yeah, to start my college experience. But anyways, yeah, that's that. You know, I was living in Palmitas for a whole year. Um, my first year was terrible. I think it was just a waste of my time. Um, all I did was just play video games. I didn't use my resources like the library, and I was to a point where I almost got kicked out. I had like a 1.7 GPA.
Oh wow.
I was in probation, so by my third quarter, they were like, "Dude, either you pick it up or we're gonna kick you out." Right, pretty much.
Kind of like a warning.
Yeah, it was just a warning, and I pull my, you know, I pull it off, and I got a decent grade. I'm not gonna say I got straight A's, but it was enough to get me to a 2.0, and I stayed. And my second year, um, I was no longer living in campus, so I had to commute from Fullerton to Pomona. If you guys don't know, that's like a 30 to an hour minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
And and then so because I didn't know anybody, all I was doing was just going there, going to my class, and then just heading back home. And it was kind of stressing. It was kind of, uh, it was just weird. I felt like I wasn't enjoying it, enjoying my college experience. So, after my first quarter, of my second year, I wanted to do something more. And I noticed some people walking around with Hermanos Unidos shirts.
Okay.
Right. And during orientation, and at the tablings, one of the hermanos approached me, but at the time I was like, no, like, all clubs seem to me like a frat pretty much, and I don't want to be in a frat because, I'm not bashing frats, but you have to pay money, right? That was my understanding, so I just didn't want to do it. But I kind of at the point where I was on that time, I kind of wanted just to do it and see what it was like. I'd never been part of a club before, so I messaged them on the Facebook page. I put like something along the lines of, does anybody know who I can contact for Hermanos Unidos, something like that. And 1 week, shout out to George. He was the one to commentate on my post. He tagged Nabor, who you were just talking about, and he messaged me, and he told me the date, time, and I went to my first meeting, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool experience. I met a couple of young kings there. They were all very nice to me. I liked the environment, and immediately I was hooked on. And that's how you and I met.
Yes, through HM.
And yeah, we've been friends ever since. We're going a couple of concerts together, just living life.
Living lavish, kind of in a broke college student's budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's kind of brave of you talking about being in academic probation, because I mean, not to say that anybody's perfect, because props to the people out there that weren't in academic probation.
Oh yeah.
But
it's hard, dude.
Oh man, tell me about it.
It's hard.
It's just, I was in academic probation myself too, and except it didn't take me a year to get out. It was more of a 2 to 3 years, and it's just a whole different level of stress, man. Honestly.
Yeah, you feel like I felt like I was letting people down, especially my parents.
Yeah.
Because during that time, I'm over here getting D's and all that stuff, and my parents are they're at home asking me like, "Oh, how's everything going?" And I'm over here telling them like, "Oh, it's fine, everything's good."
So it's kind of like you're putting on a face.
Yeah, bro, I was lying to them, and it was because I was embarrassed. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to admit that I was failing and pretty much wasting my time and their time as well as their money. So yeah, dude, it's something. It's hard to deal with being in probation. But anyways, I mean, we learn from our mistakes,
Oh yeah, most definitely. And it like I said, it just took me 2 to 3 years to get out of it, and it's just those constant, nonstop visits, checkup visits, how you're doing. And it wasn't until the like the head of the department, kind of my department, because I I went in for PLS.
Mm-hmm.
My major is PLS, and um, she was just like flat out. She was like, Eduardo, if you don't pass, you know, we're not gonna send you a letter, or we're not gonna feel sorry for you. It's you're gonna be kicked out. You're not gonna be in the system anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't until I heard that, bro, where just like my eyes popped out of my sockets. It was just like, okay, like she's being for real and she's giving me a fair warning. And it's just those resources, man. Resources that some college students don't even use. Like, you know, like free tutoring, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Free tutoring and, you know, study hours and all that. And I started using them.
Mm-hmm.
And so 2 to 3 years later, it's just a great feeling to get out of it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's pretty much my experience with academic probation.
Well, I just want to tell people that are out there listening and that might be going into college, you know, join a club. Honestly, I feel like if I had joined Hermanos Unidos when I was given the opportunity during orientation, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have been in probation because what they do is they give you. You're supposed to have a certain amount of study hours.
Yeah.
Right. In order for you to
participate, kind of.
Yeah, participate in various events, and you know it kind of motivates you. You know, you get in a way you get rewarded. You know, for putting in the time and effort to do your homework. You know, do get good grades, all those things. And I feel like if I had done that from the very beginning, you know, I would have, you know, never been in probation. I probably would have finished earlier, college. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this organization taught me how to study, you know, how to use my resources. Like, dude, like I learned so much. Like, if it wasn't for HU, I probably like half of the things that I learned throughout college, I wouldn't have learned them if I had been by myself. You know, everyone's taking care of you. Everyone's, you know, if you're slacking, you know they talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, dude. Like, again, I just want to stress. I can't stress this enough, but join a club for sure. Join a club. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does not matter. Yeah.
Yeah. It will benefit you. You know, not only are you gonna build good habits. You know, work harder, but you're gonna make, you know, great relationships. You know, and again, how I met Eddie through that, and you know, I consider him one of my best friends.
Yeah. And it's just crazy, man. Honestly, it's not to discourage listeners out there that, you know, college isn't for you, but on the contrary, it is for you. And if people say you don't belong there because you mess up, everybody messes up, man. It's like it's just part of life, you know. It's just those mistakes are just life lessons that just make you a stronger person and a stronger individual.
Yeah.
And so.
And it doesn't matter how long it takes you, you know?
Oh yeah.
As long as you finish, I think that's what matters
the
most. It doesn't matter how you start, it's how you end, you know? And another thing is, you know, it's okay to go to community college as well. Sometimes I think about it, and I think I could have saved a lot more money going to community college. But, you know, we all have our routes, you know? We all have our paths, and, you know, I found mine, you know, you find yours, you know?
Oh, yeah. Definitely have to agree with that.
Yeah. You want to talk about our positions in HU?
Yeah, so going into deeper about HU, I feel like it's kind of more of a HU episode, but...
well, this is our college experience, bro.
Like, yes, it is college
experience. This is a big part.
We just feel like, well, at least for me, you know, HU has been a big influence because it was a family away from home. And, you know... It was just amazing. I was serving a term of 2015, 2016 as a social chair. And what a social chair pretty much is that it just breaks people out of their shells, as we like to say, but it's more of getting out of their comfort zone. So when it comes to interviews and career fairs, they're not afraid to speak up, or, you know, making friends, and, you know, because there's always that shy one in the classroom, you know, where get in groups, guys, and no one gets into groups. Yep. So that's what I was working on. And so it was just it was a pretty fun experience. I got to learn a lot. I got a lot of connections. I made a lot of friends through there, and yeah, it was just crazy, man. It was wonderful.
And then the next year, I took on your position.
Yes.
So again, pretty much what he just said. It's all true. It was a great experience. I think at the time I was taking a public speaking class, and dude, I think I've always been shy, speaking in front of people. I don't know why. I have this way of thinking where I'm like, I got it. It's okay. I know what I'm gonna do. Yeah. But once you get up there, dude, you start getting sweaty. Like you start to feel all nervous. But once I took on that position, you're supposed to talk to a bunch of people, right? You're supposed to be in the middle of the crowd, talking to all these people, trying to lead them or have them do certain activities. Mm-hmm. So it definitely helped me out with my public speaking, because after that I was getting up on in front of the classroom and I was speaking, and I was still nervous. I'm not gonna say I was immediately the best public speaker ever. Yeah. But it was definitely like it was better, I was just doing a lot better than I was before. And I've seen a lot of people too in HU that you see them from the very beginning, how they're super shy, and then towards the end, dude, it's like a complete different person.
Oh yeah,
complete different person.
Definitely. I have to agree with that. And so that kind of is going to bring us down to the end of this episode. Mm-hmm. Like I mentioned earlier, it's just, this podcast is just like a platform for us, and it's been an ongoing project with me and Anthony. We've just always talked about it, and now finally we're manifesting it. And so you can find our podcast at Spotify, and soon in Apple,
iTunes,
iTunes podcast. And just want to thank you guys for tuning in and listening with us. And again, we're just starting, so if you guys have any feedback or any questions for our next episode, please let us know. Find us on Instagram. Mine is at Magolis_96. That is at MAGOLIS_96. What about yours?
For which one did you say? Twitter or Instagram?
For Instagram. I don't have a Twitter.
You don't?
No.
I thought you did. Oh, never mind. Well, my Instagram is Anthony Amado 96.
Okay.
But yeah, if you have anything to say about the podcast, if you have any questions, things like that, just let us know. Shoot us a message.
And soon, very soon, we're going to be open to, after all this is over, we're going to be open to guests and different topics about what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
So thank you guys again for tuning in, and see you in the next episode.
See you.